Join us today as we talk about the military organization within the inner sphere. Welcome back, folks, and all you new folks. Today will be another BattleTech video, just in case that wasn't clear.
It should have been clear, folks. It really should have been.
Should be, but one of these days we're going to throw them a curveball, settle this stuff up, and talk about like Star Trek or something.
Warhammer 40k.
No.
No!
I'm not going to blaspheme BattleTech with that. We'll put something else up. Put up Star Wars figures or something. Yeah. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about how the militaries and the inner sphere are organized. And we've touched on this in some of the other videos where I've explained the concept of a lance, which is 4 battle mechs. That's the most basic unit, and this would be how the houses are organized, some of the periphery states, and some of the mercenary companies. Now, the mercenaries, they could be a lot more freewheeling. Like, some mercenary companies are literally just a lance of mechs.
Or literally one mech.
Yeah, or some could be 6. And if you've got 6, if you're using all 6, you're not going to sit there and tell yourself, well, battle doctrine says to only use 4, so I'm only going to use 4. No, you're going to use all 6.
Yep.
Okay, that's what you're going to do.
Unless you're in Harebrained Scheme's game, whereupon you're just going to use 4 at a time.
Well, okay, that's...
Against wave after wave after wave of enemy mechs.
Yeah, but that's a unique situation. So, anyway, so like I said, you have the lance. One of the only major differentiations is House Lao, after the clan invasion, has begun using what's called an augmented lance, which is 4 battle mechs and 2 combat vehicles, or 2, I believe, squads of battle armored infantry, because they learned of how the clans, some aspect of clan, combined arms tactics, which they don't use a whole lot of, but some of them do.
There is a thing called the Light Lance, which is just 3 battle mechs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of little variants here, but essentially the lance is 4, or in the case of the Lao, is the augmented. So as I'm going to go up this, I'm going to skip the other additional Lao ones, because essentially they're, imagine whatever I'm talking about, but with the word augmented, and it involves vehicles. Okay?
Which, the Light Lance that only has 3 mechs could also get confusing, because don't they refer to lances by, like, total tonnage? Like, a light lance is, like light tonnage total.
Okay. Within the game, in game terms, lances are defined by their roles. So it's like a pursuit lance, an urban lance, and so on.
Command lance.
Yeah, and those all have very specific definitions in the rules. But you can generally parse out based on the name what the implied role for the lance is.
They had products named like that, didn't they?
Yes. The current lance packs have these fine plastic battle mechs that Catalyst produces. Also, Ironwind Metals, I believe, sells some of them by those names as well for their metal ones. So there's that. I thought of something while I was talking there, and it's gone now. Really should just stop whenever I should do those things and just throw it out there. But
you never do that, and you always regret it.
No. Anyway, again, this is the inner sphere. That's what it was. Most of this is just for knowledge of how the universe works in BattleTech. You don't have to play the game this way at all. Like, you want to throw 7 mechs together on your team? Go for it. Because again, you're not bound by this for the game itself. This is the lore. This is, if you're going to go lore accurate and go lance on lance or company on company or whatever, this is what people are expecting. But otherwise, if it's you and a friend, and you both are I'm gonna play 7 guys, I'm gonna play these 9 guys, whatever, go for it. That's entirely up to you. This is not anything, again, very different from Warhammer, where strict set of rules. This is a lot more laissez-faire. So, anyway, so the next step up is the company, which is where there are 3 lances typically. And this is the point where, at least in universe, you start having other units involved. That's 3 lances of battle mechs, but you're also going to have vehicle and infantry assets attached to it, artillery, aerospace fighters, that kind of thing. It's going to be more of a beginnings of a not well-rounded combined arms force. So, and again, that's in setting lore. In game, you're going to either need the battle value points to pay for it, or C-bills, or however it is you're making your 2 sides equal, if they are equal. I mean, some scenarios they're not, because war isn't supposed to be. If you find yourself in a fair fight, you did something wrong. In actual war, like fake war, obviously we try to shoot for the fair fight unless it's a scenario, because we want to know skill, not strategic planning. So anyway,
yes.
And again, you like I mentioned, there's the Lao augmented company. A company will also typically have a commander actually in the field. That's another thing. Once you get a whole lot higher, you eventually have a general back somewhere, or in a warship orbiting the planet or something. Well, probably not, because most of the warships have been nuked into oblivion, but they'll be somewhere safe. Or
on the jump ship.
Yeah, could be on the jump ship. And then,
because gentleman's agreement is don't destroy the jump ships.
Somewhat, yeah.
It's a gentleman's agreement, which means some people break it.
Yeah. And then moving up from that is the battalion, which is 3 companies. And again, so that's going to be 36 battle mechs at least. Plus, you're going to have
aerospace, artillery, reconnaissance, medical, and all kinds of support people.
Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff there. And as you move up, these are more and more self-sufficient groups, and not just a roving band of marauders or anything.
And generally commanded by higher and higher ranked people.
Yes.
Unless your group has been totally decimated and you're claiming to be a battalion and you got like 6 mechs and the highest officer is a sergeant.
Yeah. Yeah. You might be what's left of your group, but yeah, you're not a battalion.
Really, you're just a lance and a half.
Yeah. And then after that, you get up into the regiment, and that is anywhere from 3 to 5 battalions. And you're looking at some real numbers there. Let's see, what does that come up to? 3 to 5 battalions, so that's 108 to 180 mechs or combat vehicles, but probably mechs, and then all the augmented stuff to go along with it. Your aerospace, your artillery, your tanks, your scout vehicles, your armored infantry, your unarmored infantry, just all your support personnel, your technicians. I mean, any group is going to have the technicians. I really shouldn't lump them in. Like a lance is going to have technicians, but at this point, you're talking like this. This is an army. Okay, this is we've come to take this place and hold it, and we have everything we need to accomplish that.
And this is what great houses usually organize their people into, right?
Yeah, I don't know if any of the mercenaries have a regiment of material. That would be like, if any of them do, it's got to be like either the Highlanders,
Wolf's Dragoons,
the Wolf's Dragoons,
Cowhounds,
maybe the Eridani Light Horse, because they've been around forever. I don't know much about them other than the fact they're descended from a Star League unit. So if someone out there is like, no, they've only got 3 lances and that's the way it's always been, well, sorry, I didn't read up on them. I just know they're descended from a Star League unit. McCarran's Armored Cavalry might, since they're a house unit at this point for House Lao. Uh, they might be that big at this point, but that's it. Like those, that's as far as mercenaries. It's the only ones that can even be close to that, because that is a hell of a lot of material and personnel at that point.
That's a whole lot of support.
Yeah,
that you gotta have in place.
Yeah, that's
cooks, technicians.
Yeah, you're getting into the other thing with mercenaries is at that point, I don't know who's going to be able to pay you. Okay, because like Chad said, you've got all the personnel, like from a fiction standpoint here, obviously, you've got all the personnel, the transports. Presumably, with that much material, you've got a home planet somewhere and probably factories.
Your own jump ships.
Yeah,
you'd have to.
I mean, you're a roving, like, legitimate private army at that point, and I don't know who can pay you. And on top of that, you're gonna, because of the amount of force you can bring, it's gonna command a pretty penny. And you're not going to take the suicide missions that they give to low-level mercenaries.
Yeah.
You know.
At that point, you'd be better off just becoming a pirate.
Yeah. Yeah, pick some planets in the periphery and claim them for yourself. But yeah, so that's where things, you know, top out from a practical level. I mean, you get above that to a few other things, but you know, that's more or less where you're going to top out. Yeah, I mean, you've got like brigades and divisions, but that's purely that's house militaries for sure at that point.
Yeah.
All right. That's like there's probably periphery states that can't field this kind of stuff, if I had to guess.
I'm betting House of Rano can't even get a brigade going. They're not exactly that big.
Yeah, I haven't played the game and I don't have the book, so I have the game. I just haven't got around to playing it.
Because brigade requires 3 or more regiments.
Yeah, so you're talking 300 plus battle mechs under a single command. Yeah, you'd be if your periphery state had that, you'd be better off dividing it up into smaller commands so they could be more mobile and more reactive than to centralize everything like that.
Yep.
So yeah, and that's kind of the other short little half of this is once you get above a certain point militarily, you're way beyond field commander decisions. Like with the House Lao, they have what they call the strategios, and they report directly to the Chancellor. You have within the House Steiner, people make fun of the fact they're social generals because they're inherited or purchased titles, but there are some people that do know what they're doing at certain levels of the command. And like you have is it the commander of the armies? Is that their title?
I believe so.
Then with the House Davian, you've got the first prince. He's the ruler, but he also has like his second, who's like the other commander, and it's kind of set up, I believe, the way that the Romans were set up, if I understood their organization correctly, where you have the emperor, but after a certain point, I don't remember which emperor initiated it, but there was also like a primary general who was essentially half emperor, and the only person that could overrule him was the emperor. And the idea was basically like they dealt with problems at different ends of the empire because it was so vast, kind of deal. And so that's the kind of thing you kind of run into there with, I believe that's how the House Davian works, if I understand it correctly. And so
they have 2 generals that trade command of the army every day.
No,
that's how the Romans did it.
No.
That's stupid.
No. It's you've got the first prince. He's the overall supreme commander. Okay, so imagine it's like Star Wars with the Emperor and Darth Vader. Vader is like, if he has a title, it's Supreme Commander of the Imperial Armed Forces.
Yeah.
But he answers to the Emperor.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Emperor can override him. All right, but in the field, unless the Emperor is there, he is, for all intents and purposes, the Emperor. Okay.
Okay.
So it's essentially like that.
Okay.
If I understand the structure of the Davian situation correctly, and that allows them to deal with problems at opposite ends. Because like right now, they have problems at opposite ends. The dragon has taken their homeworld, and House Lao is kicking their teeth in on the other side. So, now if it were me, I would sue for peace with House Lao because they've seemed amenable to the idea thus far, and go and attack the dragon and retake my homeworld. But that's just me.
Maybe get the person on the other side of them in the war as well.
Yeah, if you could somehow convince Steiner or the Ghost Bears to do something. But the problem is Steiner is too busy like trying to reorganize from falling
trying
apart.
to recollect, bring themselves back together.
And the Ghost Bears, I don't know, in 1,000 years I'm sure they'll do something to somebody. But thus far they've been content to just sit there
And build warships.
Yeah, but
they have like the 3 biggest warships in the inner sphere.
They've got the big Leviathan class warships, but they're not doing anything with them.
Like they're biding their time. They're being a bear in hibernation.
I know, but like this is like the end of The Dark Knight Rises, where Talia's sitting there talking about the slow blade, and then she goes to click the button, and Bruce is all like, maybe the blade that was a little too slow. Because it gave everyone else time to do stuff. Because you're out here, doing all your planning and plotting and scheming, and Batman shuts down your nuclear bomb by having Gordon do his little thing in the back of the truck. Like there comes a point where you do actually have to act, and not just scheme. And I think that's the problem with the Ghost Bears is they seem to not ever act. So, yeah. So anyway, and then of course we're not going to get into it in this video. We're going to do a separate video for the clans because they use a different organizational structure. But yeah, so this is how the Inner Sphere organizes the House Militaries, most of the Periphery states, and most-ish of the mercenaries. Now, obvious exceptions are Comstar, who uses some kind of like 6-mech configuration that they call a level 2, I believe. At least that's what the sets of the plastic miniatures are called. I'm going to have to read up on that because I do want to do, whenever we do the in-depth video on Comstar, we're going to talk about their organization. That's probably going to double for our Ward of Blake video also, because they used, I'm assuming, still use the same organizational principles.
Who knows?
I think the Marian Hegemony uses a different organizational principle, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Space Rome. Founded by an Irishman, I think. And then, yeah, so they're some notable exceptions. But, yeah, this is pretty much it. And then, yeah, I think that's where we're going to cut this one off, because there is some other information. The way it's looking, our first in-depth video is probably going to be for the Highlanders.
Yep.
And so one thing I kind of want to do, whenever we get around to the first of, like, that's going to be the first mercenary group, I also want to do just a short little, here's how mercenaries work kind of video for BattleTech. We do the first of the houses, like, this is kind of how some of this stuff works for the houses. Same with the clans. Although this is kind of going to kind of explain most of this for the houses and the clans. But the mercenaries have a whole deal. Like there's a mercenary, there's a guild, there's a board, there's who manages contracts, all that kind of stuff. Plus explaining, just in the off chance anyone out there doesn't know what a mercenary is, I suppose. Spoiler if you don't know, it's a soldier for hire, in case you haven't figured that out from this video yet. They do exist in the real world, have throughout most of history. Yeah, like there have been various points where mercenaries have actually been like a really booming business. Now we tend to call them contractors and special operators and all kinds of fun terms to avoid the fact that they're mercenaries.
Yep.
No offense to anyone out there that's an actual mercenary. Like, I'm not trying to make it sound terrible, but
if you like your job, you like your job.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, this is the truth here. Like, we do paint it up to so it's something else, so people don't realize we're paying people to be soldiers for us, which also allows them to do things beyond what we would normally be able to do. And I'm not going to go into that. Uh, but
That
yeah,
is for other channels to do.
yeah. So that's the deal. Mercenaries in the Inner Sphere are typically not hired for assassination work. You hire
No.
an assassin for that.
Or you employ your own assassins that
Yes.
have plausible deniability with.
Yeah. Or if you want to send a message, whichever.
Yeah, send a message, send your own guy in there to kill the guy and then kill himself.
Yeah.
Nice and sent.
So anyway, that is how the Militaries of the Inner Sphere work. And again, if you want your games to be accurate, that's how you'll set it up. If not, it's your game. Do whatever you want. So anyway,
Yes, guys. Do a brigade level combat.
yeah, film it. Let us all see it
Yes.
with regular BattleTech rules, not Alpha Strike.
I don't got that much time left in my life.
I don't think they have enough memory on the computer to store the videos.
You use multiple computers.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, that would have definitely been a thing. Like while COVID was still raging, like you would have had the time, maybe. Like we wouldn't, because we have important jobs.
Yeah. We are what is called essential.
Yeah.
Well, mine technically is.
Well, I mean,
Your job shuts down 2 days a year. Mine don't at all.
yeah, but those are 2 days a year. Well, first of all, it's only recently 2 days a year. It was 1 day a year.
This is true.
The second day is a recent addition.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, folks, hang on, we're gonna compose ourselves here. So anyway, folks, that's it for the presentation here. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. Keep an eye out on the store shelves. The new version of the beginner set is showing up. I have seen it on several websites with the new box art. So it should be the new one. It should also be showing up at Barnes & Noble, because for some reason Barnes & Noble is the BattleTech place.
Also, the 6-box of Urban Mechs is on sale on Kyle's website, I do believe.
Oh, it's not a 6-pack. It's 12. It's a
12-pack?
It's a company. Right? I'm sorry, folks. We record these on Sunday, and I'm very tired, so I have to make notes.
Yes, he does.
Yes, it's a company. It's a company of Urban Mechs. 12 Urban Mechs.
So, the fact I'm considering ordering 2 of them when I get paid again, I will have 24 Urban Mechs.
You will. And more importantly, it is cheaper to buy them this way than individually. Because individually they're $7. It's like $60 for the 12 of them, making them $5 a piece this way.
Because I would like to be able to just, you're bringing all that stuff. I'm just bringing Urban Mechs.
Well, I do hate to somewhat spoil that announcement, though. But they had another big, get-together recently. And some of the photos that came out of that are Urban Mechs with alternate weapon configurations. So, those are probably coming down the pipe at some point.
Does one have a nuke on it?
No.
Aww. AC-20?
No, but one of them is loaded to bear with all kinds of missiles.
Ooh!
Everyone's not sure if they're SRMs or MRMs. That would
They need to be LRMs.
To be clear, folks, this is a jargon kind of thing that we should probably have a video on at some point too.
Yes.
SRMs are short-range missiles. MRMs are medium-range missiles.
LRMs are long-range missiles.
Believe it or not, medium-range missiles don't exist as a technology until very far into the timeline. It's short and long for quite a while, and then finally medium gets introduced. I don't remember exactly where, but it's post-clan invasion. So, yeah. But, no, the Urban Mech would likely be armed with SRMs, because for city fighting. You jump around a building and blast them in the face with them.
The solution here, folks, is just to get a Emperor-class Titan, march into the city, void shields up, and start firing your anything. Here's the solution to that fight. I could maybe like make a. Well, actually, I think it'd still be rather large and
No,
tighten the scale with these mechs.
no, we're going off track, Chad.
We are.
All right.
But still miniatures related. So.
Yeah, it is miniatures related, and it's kind of related to the Stompy robots. Like I'll give you that, but we're in the home stretch here. So
Yes.
So all right, folks, you know the deal. If you like the video, hit the like, subscribe, make some comments. Clearly, we read the comments. Any factions you want to see, like we said at the moment, it's looking like Highlanders is going to be first.
Then Comstar.
Then probably Comstar. And I think the other requests we have at the moment are for the Clan Sea Fox and the Rasselhag Dominion.
Yes.
So, if there's anything you want to see, obviously at some point we probably should have listed the factions, I suppose, so you'd know what to pick. But
literally, like any of the great houses, any of the clans.
Yeah.
Throw out some random word followed by mercenary company. It probably exists.
It might. If there's something close, we'll go for it. Believe it or not, there's a group called Snord's Irregulars.
Let's do them. Like, come on. Snord's Irregulars, guys.
All right. So anyway, like I said, all the stuff. It's YouTube. You know what you're doing. But otherwise, also for those of you impacted by the hurricane, do what you can to stay safe. Nothing in those floodwaters is worth your life, except if it's a loved one or something, obviously. But that stuff's replaceable. You're not.
Yes.
So
we would really hate to hear you guys about anybody out there running into the floodwaters for something that could easily be replaced later on.
Yeah. So stay safe, and we will catch you folks later.